Councilor Latham.
Present.
President Councilor Cahill.
Present.
President Councilor Capano. Councilor Capano. President Councilor Calucci. President Councilor Creighton. President Councilor Seer. President Councilor Ford. President Councilor Lozey. President Councilor Net. President Councilor Phelan.
Present.
President Councilor Trahan.
Present. Can we all please rise for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to accept the minutes of the September 25th meeting. Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Communications.
Peter Karen, Director of Assessing. Dear Councilors, the Board of Assessors respectfully request a public hearing be held before the City Council on December 11, 2012, in order for the Board to provide to the Council all the information and data relevant to making a determination on the percentage of the FY 2013 tax levy to be borne by each class of real and personal property, as well as the financial effect of available alternatives, including open space discount, the residential exemption, and the small commercial exemption. Very truly yours, Peter Karen.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilor Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Creighton?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Ford?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lozey?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Net?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Phelan?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Trahan?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item.
Presentation by Dr. Catherine Latham regarding potential funding for the Marshall Middle School.
Dr. Latham. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you very much. Good evening, councilors, Council President. I wanted, actually, Council President asked me to give a little bit of a timeline and a discussion of the funding necessary for the new Marshall Middle School project. Right now, we're in the feasibility study. We have, you folks have appropriated $750,000, and with that money, we have brought on board a project manager. It's the company Jocelyn Lesser, and we also have a designer for the project, Jean Raymond of Raymond Associates. And so they are right now working on the feasibility study, and the feasibility study is used to examine the programmatic issues that we're planning to do at Marshall, and also the site. And as you've heard, we did a presentation, many of you councilors were there at the first public forum a couple of weeks ago, and or it might have been last week, I'm losing the plot here. It was interesting, and most of the information there was on the site. On November 13th, we have to submit to the MSBA, that's the Mass School Building Authority, the preliminary design program. The School Building Authority is very specific in what they allow. They allow so many square feet for classrooms. They allow so many square feet for a gym. They don't allow auditoriums in middle school, so we are going to have to do a cafetorium, what they call something that can be used for double spacing. So right now we are figuring out the programmatic piece of the new Marshall Middle School. So we want a wood shop, we want a cooking room, we want so many classrooms. They have allowed us 1,100 students is the enrollment figure that we have been allowed, and according to that enrollment figure, we're allowed to build a building about 176,000 square feet. So we are working on that.
Dr. Latham, can I just interrupt just for a moment?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask any questions, but I do.
Yep.
I recognize that the mayor of the city is here. I just want to point out Mayor Kennedy is here this evening. I apologize for interrupting.
So we'll get that programmatic to the MSBA in November. In December, we have to submit a preferred schematic design, and we're hoping to have a site choice done by that time. As you know, by the city charter, the school committee has the responsibility of choosing the site for the school. In April, we are supposed to have the project scope ready for and the budget done. And we must have, within 120 days of that project scope and the budget set for, from MSBA, within 120 days we have to vote on a bond for this project. The city must appropriate all the money, but must bond only the 80%, the 20% that we need. So MSBA is going to support 80% of this. However, we originally thought the project was going to be 50 to 65 million. That is old cost, and it was based on similar projects that have been done in the state for similar sized middle schools. But that may go over now, we're not sure. The MSBA allows $275 a square foot and is very specific as to allowing us 176,000 square feet for an 1,100 student building. There's additional costs. They allow us also approximately 20% more for the furniture and the technology that's going to go into that building. So what we learned today was the $275 a square foot is what they allow. If it happens that for today's costs, it's going to cost $300 a square foot or more, we are going to have to negotiate that with the MSBA, and there is a chance that they may not, or they may, we don't know, pick up 80% of anything over and above $275 a square foot. The cost of land taking, demolition if necessary, relocation, busing, swing space rental, none of that is reimbursable. And not only that, I'm not sure about the reasonable cost per square foot. It's expected that also MSBA will not allow us to go forward with the project unless we have control of the site. So we have 3 sites that were presented to the school committee and the public forum and to the whole public in general. Actually, there's going to be a presentation on Thursday night to the school committee as well. We are looking at 3 sites. The site Marshall is on now, Keeney Park, and Brookline Street. So we control, of course, the site that Marshall is on now, just that piece of property. But we do not have control, or the city does not have control over the other sites yet. So that would have to be in place as well. And again, that's not, if there are any takings, that's not 80% reimbursable. Any takings by eminent domain, that would not be included. The vote, the bond vote must be taken after at least within 120 days of the MSB approval of the budget. If the MSB approves the budget in April, then the vote needs to be taken next summer, 2013, and that's the vote on the bond. Exactly how much the bond is or will be depends on what the budget is and what the directions are from MSBA.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Councilor Seer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, all 3 sites, the way the plan have some land taking, correct? Even if thorough it is now?
The only position that would not require any taking would be just to use the site that Marshall is on now. And then that would have to, the building would have to be demolished in order to make space. We'd have to have swing space, and that would have costs to busing those students is about $800,000 a year, and then there would be swing space that we would have to find.
And finding that space, we don't have any space anywhere in the city right now for those students, correct?
That's correct. We'd have to become very creative.
Councilor Net.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dr. Latham, I'm just wondering, why don't we fix the school instead of building a new one? So if to fix it, how much it costs? I know how much it costs to build a new one, $50 to $65 million.
Yes. When the MSBA came in and originally looked at the Marshall Middle School, they, I'm sorry, I can't tell you what kind of construction it was originally, but they said it's not fixable. So we would have to demolish the building, although that is one of the considerations. I don't think that would be a viable consideration at this point because of the way it was constructed. I'm not an engineer, so I couldn't describe that to you. I will say that the people who did come by said it was in very bad shape.
Council Ford.
Just my own curiosity, Dr. Latham, why no auditorium?
They won't fund it. It's very interesting what they will and they won't fund. And they'll fund a gym up to so many square feet in a middle school. So we're going to have to borrow from Peter to pay Paul if we want to even get a set of bleachers in. So it's interesting.
That must have changed since the Reed building.
The Reed has a lecture hall, but it doesn't have a space where all of the students can congregate. So they have a small lecture hall, but it won't fit the entire student body. So we could possibly put a lecture hall in, but with limited space. We're looking at creative ways, though, to maybe put a movable wall or something.
Council Biden.
Dr. Latham, Lynn Tech, when we did that swimming pool,
Yes.
did we have to fund that, or was that
Oh
included?
boy, I don't know. I'd have to look that one up.
Because we only have one swimming pool in the city, so, it's something to think about.
My guess is they wouldn't fund it. It's not on the list, I believe.
Councilor Calucci.
Was it in the study how much the taking of the land would be if you have to build that one?
We have estimated those values using assessed values, and I don't know exactly the procedures going through eminent domain, but we have the assessed values of different, if we place, for example, if we place the Marshall Middle School, if we just take a few properties up front instead of, and expand the footprint, exactly how much it's going to be. But it would involve, in any one of the lots, a few $1 million.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Seer.
I just want Dr. Latham to say again that we don't get any of the reimbursement back. It would be on the city's nut if we were to take any of the land eminent domain.
That's exactly right, and probably that would have to be done. Again, they've said, our owner's project manager, Jocelyn Lesser, has said that unless we have control of the site, we may not be allowed to go forward. And I would think control of the site means that we actually own it. And right now, the only thing we own is what Marshall is sitting on, so.
Councilor Trent. I'm sorry. Councilor Seer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Which would be a tremendous burden to the city because we have to relocate students out of that school. I know you already said that, but
It would be a burden. Very expensive, $800,000 for busing plus whatever we can find for swing space. We would have to explore that option.
Councilor Trahan.
Yeah, so not only are we going to have to do 20% then of the, say, 65 or 70 million of the building, we're also going to probably have to add another $3 or $4 million for the take-in and to pay everything else if there is going to be a take-in. So it's not just the school we're going to have to apply for, it's going to be a lot more, so it's improved the thought, and it's going to be something.
Any additional questions? Councilor Calucci.
Maybe from a lot of
Attorney Vitale.
if that's the case, and we have to go to eminent domain, how long that takes? That's not a quick fix, is it?
Well, we would take the property, the landowners can certainly contest the amount that we offer, and that would take a long time, but the actual taking would move forward.
We could actually take the property
Yeah.
and then just finagle on the price.
I wouldn't say finagle, but you'd have to negotiate a price,
Negotiate.
or you'd have to, if the homeowner or the property was not satisfied, then they would litigate. But for the taking, as long as it's for a public purpose, we can, just as we do with the police station and other projects, you'd move forward.
Thank you.
Councilor Seer.
thank you. I think I also want to make it clear to the council, and I think Dr. Latham can back me up on this, from being involved with the process, because of the condition of Thoroughbred, that there are other schools in the city that are not as bad, but close to it, that need to be reconstructed or need work done on. But in order for us to do those other projects, we have to take care of Thoroughbred first. So it's like, I think it's such a need for the city and the school itself. It's, I think, almost 100 years old.
I believe the date is 1923 on the major part of the building.
I mean, they did another middle school that we're looking at, that we're trying to get in the pipeline, and as well as an elementary school. So it's important that we, really try to get this project done.
I think it's going to be probably a little more expensive than we planned. However, if we do not get it done, you don't get a chance, okay, how about an elementary school, or how about the next school in line? We get to go to the end of the line. So, if we do not choose to do it.
Council Trahan.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Latham, now what happens with the school once we're done? Say we put on another site. Do we have to tear that building down, or what are we talking about?
That's up to us. I believe that it could be used as positive. We could keep it going long enough. It is expensive to maintain, as Mr. Donovan told you last week. Possibly use it as swing space for any other project that came along that we might be. Yes.
Council Net.
Thank you. So if we decide to tear the building down, the old one, so the same company who built the school to tear down, and do we have to pay extra for that?
Yeah, it is extra. All of the demolition costs are fully ours. Unless we build directly on that site. However, if we do build directly where the footprint is, I believe they will take part of that, they will allow us part of that demolition cost. But then, if there's any remediation, for example, if there are any tiles there with asbestos or anything, that remediation we own at 100%.
But it's no,
I believe.
There's no quote how much, there's no price on how much it's supposed to be.
I've heard demolition estimates in the millions, but I don't know.
Thank you.
Council Butler.
Dr. Latham, if we were going to move to one site, either Keeney or Brookline Street, would the students be allowed to stay in that school until the completion of the building?
Yes.
Without doing any repairs?
Well, generally, any major certainly would try and do as few repairs as possible.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Council Kate. Any additional questions? Council Seer.
Not really a question, and again, watching this process go forward, talking with Councilor Tran earlier tonight, one of the main reasons that a lot of people wind up leaving the city of Lynn, and a lot of parents don't want to send their kids to a middle school in the city, is because of the conditions of the schools. It gives us, this is a perfect opportunity for us to try to keep people here, and to also try to bring other people into Lynn. I just look at it as an unbelievable opportunity. I think Dr. Latham in the mayor's office and the school committee have done a great job to this point. And I just want to say, I think we ought to continue through the council to support them in their efforts, what they're doing. So,
Thank you, Council. Any other questions or comments? Dr. Latham, I'm not really great at math, but if the cost stays at $65 million, 20% of that is $13 million would be the city's responsibility, and as you put a few million on the land acquisition, whatever that may be.
Yes.
So somewhere in the vicinity of 15 to 20 million would be need to be bonded by the city.
Yes, it may go a little bit higher. As I said today, I learned that anything over $275 a square foot is negotiable with the MSBA. I was not aware of that. I thought that because they've used that number for a few years, so it might go a little bit higher.
Any further questions? Thank you, Dr. Latham.